you could pick your five most talented players ever to play at Duke, who would they be?
Grant Hill, Jason Tatum.
Hmm.
I gotta say Zion Williamson, um, Christian Laettner. Dang, that's hard. Uh, Kyrie.
What's going on today? I'm your host, Zach Schumaker, and I'm joined today by a five-star recruit who is the number 2 overall player in the state of Florida and is also now the number 11 overall ranked player according to the circuit. And he's the second commit in Duke's 2023 recruiting class, Jon Stewart. Appreciate you coming on today, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you now are locked in, committed, heading to Duke. How's that feel?
It feels great because it was a lifelong dream of mine since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I went to my first Duke game I think it was fourth grade. It was just a crazy atmosphere in there. So I knew like since then I was a Duke fan. In my head, I was a Duke fan.
So growing up, then you were Duke was kind of like your dream school then?
Yeah, it's always been my dream school.
Now, when they did give you that offer, I believe it was right around November-ish time, somewhere around then that they finally officially extended. At least you guys announced that. So, what was your feeling like when they officially called you up and said, "All right, we want you coming to Duke officially now. Here's your offer." Take us through your emotions of what was going through your mind then.
It was just like a crazy feeling
Mm-hmm.
because all my family was there and all the coaching staff was there. So it was such a good feeling. All the stuff that I've worked for all these years are finally starting to pay off. And just to be in this position, I'm so grateful. Just to have this opportunity to even be able to say I'm going to Duke. So it was just a surreal feeling since I've been saying that I want to do this since I was like 10 years old.
So when they gave you that offer, kind of right away, did your mindset kind of go towards, okay, they're number one on my list now. All this schools have to beat them out, or was it just okay? I love Duke, but I'm going to put them in this group with all my other schools I kind of like right now too, and kind of they have to beat them out too, or like where did Duke kind of go on your list right after they offered you?
Well, it was like Duke is always they're high on the list, but it was still like a close thing for everybody because I need to go where I felt was best for me.
Yep.
So I was still considering all my options.
Well, let's go through that recruiting process because it was obviously, and kind of turns towards a lot of guys. You were one of the quicker guys in 2023 to commit, so it wasn't as long as some guys might be, but still, like you had a lot of visits. It was still a long, drawn out process of schools wanting you. You came down to that top 8, though: Harvard, Howard, Kansas, Georgetown, Ohio State, Michigan, Stanford, Duke. What led you to those 8 schools? Like, what was about those schools that said, okay, I like these schools more than anyone else?
Well, I'd say those 8 schools are just the schools that like out of all of them like continuously kept talking to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and then it was just like a feeling just to narrow the list down early because I knew I wanted to commit early to get it all out the way, get the process over with so I can just enjoy my high school and my AAU season. But with the top 8, I just wanted to cut the list down to everybody that I felt was like really interested and just wanted to keep the relationship going.
When you kind of came down to those schools, you ended up going to visit to only a few of those schools. Obviously, you didn't go to Harvard, Howard, or Kansas officially during that final group there. You went to Michigan, though, Georgetown, Ohio State, Stanford, Duke. What were those experiences like? Because a lot of guys didn't get to go on visits because of COVID and it was kind of restricted for a while. So going to those campuses, meeting the coaches, what was that like?
It was really fun. Every visit, like you think that that's where you want to go after the visit because it's the visits are so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to go to football games and meet all the players and hang out with the players. It's all really fun, and it was all really fun part of the process. But it just made it harder to make a decision though the official visits.
Out of all the visits, which one would you say was the funnest? Like they had you doing the most activities, you got to go do the most things. Like which one would you say kind of had the most fun experience for you?
Well, they were all really fun. I'd say Duke and Ohio State
Mm-hmm.
because Duke we did like a dinner on the floor at Cameron at
Mhm.
nighttime, and it was really cool. Like being in the gym by ourselves, eating with the coaching staff, and then at Ohio State we went to I think it was a Friday night game, and it was versus Penn State. So it was a crazy game. It was at like 7:30. Lights were out. It was like 110,000 people in there. So yeah, it was fun. I would say those are probably the two most cool things that I did.
You got to take us a little bit deeper into that court side, or I guess on the court dinner with coaches. So, what exactly kind of happened? Like, how did that all work out? What was it? Just take you got to take us through that.
Well, they didn't really tell me until it happened, but like they like kind of like try to surprise me with like so it's like they like put a table on like the like in the middle of the court almost,
Mhm.
and then like we had and then there was like the two baskets were behind the tables and they had like lights on the basket and like the lights were dimmed down and it was just really cool. And then like we had dinner with the staff and then after that we did the photo shoot.
I'm assuming obviously your family was there with you, but in terms of coaches, was it? Obviously, I'm guessing Coach Scheyer was there, but was it the other assistant coaches? Was Coach K there? Like, who else was there alongside your family?
Coach K wasn't there, but everybody else on the coaching staff was there. Coach Scheyer, Coach Carroll, Coach Smith, Coach Nolan Smith, Emil Jefferson, everybody was there.
Now, when you go down even closer to your commitment date, obviously we know where you end up going as Duke, but I have to imagine you probably narrowed it down a little bit more from that top eight. So, was there a final two, maybe even top three that you kind of kept personally within your family? Like, who, and if so, who really was in that final group for you?
I'd say it was a final four. Like I kept like thinking about everybody, but I'd say like the final four that I really saw myself going was like um, Duke, Michigan, Ohio State, and Stanford. And I'd say Georgetown, but I'd say those four are the main four.
So, how did Duke win you over? What was it about Coach Shaw and that program that kind of led you to say, okay, these other schools are great, but Duke is the place I want to play my college basketball at?
One of the main things I'd say was like first off, like the direction that they're going in. Like the coach. I really love the coaching staff. They all played at Duke,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they said, the opportunity to play right away is really high. Like the class that they're bringing in, they have a lot of people, obviously, but most of them, they're really good. So they're probably going to go to NBA off 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be like four people on the roster. So the opportunity to play when I get there is just really high. So, and they said they can play all of the guys that they're trying to get together on this at the same time. So that's what main thing that drew me there.
Where were you? What happened? Like, just take us through when that moment clicked for you.
Well, my dad, he said well, it was me, my mom, and my dad, and we were in like the family room or whatever, and we did like he said like a presentation
Mm-hmm.
after we did all the visits of like where who's gonna be on the roster when I'm there, opportunity to play, all the guys that would be there, the coaching staff, all that type of stuff. And he just like laid it all out and did like a deep dive on each team, and that really helped me to make my decision. And then that night I was like, I don't think I can choose anywhere else. It was my dream school. I didn't think I could pass it up.
That is a unique aspect that I wanted to make sure we got into. And you see that kind of similar with a lot of athletes and players, obviously, that have dads that's played at the college level or even NBA level. And obviously, they just have more experience. Like they've gone through this already before. So they kind of have an idea. I think times have changed a little bit, obviously, but still, it's the same process, find the right fit. So, how big has he been in your life to help you kind of get an idea of kind of narrowing down who truly wants me, who doesn't want me, what's the best fit? Like, how big has he been in your overall recruiting process?
He's been really good. Like you said, he's gone through it, since he was, uh, and right when he started high school, he was one of the guys that was recruited really heavy. So he had to make a lot of decisions. But he helped me a lot. Like mainly it was on me to make the decision. That's what I also liked about my mom and dad. They let the decision be on me. They didn't really control where I went, but they just led me in the right direction to where I needed to go. My dad, he's always been there for me. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for my dad. He always helped me out. But I'd say like my dad, he on every visit, he just like he asked me like, during a practice or something, do you see yourself on the court right now practicing with these guys? I'd be like, yeah, like, and then we'd be watching the game. He'd be like, do you see yourself fitting in playing, on the big stage with these guys right now?
And he has to kind of be a little excited to imagine too. I mean, obviously each dad just wants their son to kind of be what they want to do and enjoy what they love. But when that passion is the very same as they were, I have to imagine he's excited that you are a basketball player and playing at a high level too. So going all the way back though, was basketball kind of the very first sport that got put in your hands? Like, was that the first thing you started doing? Was it something that you just kind of went through a few different sports and then deciding on basketball, or how the ball get put in your hand?
Nah, I didn't. Basketball was the first thing I played. Like I started playing basketball, and then I like tried some other sports, but like basketball was just the main thing I did. Like I played basketball, and then I like tried golf, and I tried soccer, but basketball was just the thing I wanted to do since I was like 5 years old, 4 years old. So I've always known that I wanted to play, especially knowing that he played. I just always wanted to be like him.
For you as a son kind of looking up to him, I have to imagine there's been different pressure at times too. I know anyone that has a dad that's played at that level, people always say, okay, well, that's kind of the person you're going up against in a certain sense in some people's minds. So how have you dealt with that in that aspect? Like knowing that in a way some people try putting a pressure on you saying, okay, expectation is to become an NBA player like your dad. How have you dealt with that? And has that been challenging at any point for you?
I really wouldn't say it's challenging,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it actually helps me because it actually pushes me more to try to get where he was at
Mm-hmm.
and even be better than him.
When you grow up, I have to imagine that you've always also wanted to beat him one on one. Have you guys played one on one games and have you got a point where you're beating him yet?
All right, so this is my story. We played King of the Court, me, my brother, and my dad, and then it started to get to the point where we were winning, and then nowadays he doesn't want to play us anymore. He says he's retired. He said he wants to stay on top.
So at what point did this start happening for you guys?
Uh, I say like probably the end of my freshman year. That was probably like the last time we played.
Have
And
you
then
tried talking him into getting back on the court yet?
he's like, nah, my knees hurt. But he always works out all the time. He runs. He knows he can play. He doesn't want to lose.
Out of all the advice he has given you, though, throughout your career, on the court, off the court, how to handle yourself, what would you say is the biggest advice he's given you?
I'd say the biggest is he says every time you step on the court, just play as hard as you can, and everything else will come with it. And that's one of the things that this year I've focused on the most. And usually after I play all my games, somebody's like, "You're the hardest working kid on the court," and that's just it's really good to hear that from people because that's the main thing I try to do. And it really helps, when you play really hard, you get blocks and then you run the court and get a dunk and then you're just hyped up and you play even harder. So that's probably I'd say he helped me the most with.
So we go back forward to the night that you decide that Duke's where you're going to go. You eventually have to tell Coach Scheyer, though. So how'd that go? Kind of take us to the story of how you told Coach Scheyer and the staff that you're going to Duke.
Okay, so we knew, and then like I think like probably like it was either the next day or like 2 days later, we got on a Zoom call with all the coaches and we didn't tell them what was going on, but it was probably a good idea what was happening. And then we all got on. My grandma got on. My brother got on, and then we told him, and they were all really excited. So it was really cool. It was such a good feeling.
One aspect I know some people wonder about is we all know the coach right now is one of the best coaches of all time, and Coach K, and he's obviously stepping away now as Coach Shirer's team. But did he have any impact on your recruiting process? Like, did you get to talk to him much? Did you talk to him at all? How big of a role does Coach K play in this recruiting process right now?
I don't know how it was for other guys, but for me, he didn't. I didn't really get to talk to him at all. The only time I really talked to him was on my visit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a brief conversation. I saw him at practice, and he said hi. Introduced himself, and that was crazy. That was the first time I've met him, but yeah, he didn't really have much to do in the recruiting process.
As we know now that Coach Scheyer is the coach in waiting, and he is making his kind of coaching debut in a sense tonight too. He's obviously the head coach for with COVID stuff going on. But when you just talk about Coach Scheyer, like we don't get to see him too much. Like I said, obviously tonight we get a little glimpse into it. But not too many people know him that well yet. So what is Coach Scheyer like? Like just on and off the court. Take us to Coach Scheyer.
I love Coach Scheyer. He's a really good guy. Hanging out with him for the few days that we did, and he's been down here to watch me play at practice and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I just got a really good feel with him. After even the first time I met him, he's a really good guy. He's a family man. I just love the way that he interacts with his players.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, how I don't even know how to explain it, but like he has a really good relationship with all his players. And he's like one of those guys that you can go talk to if you need anything.
What would you say is your favorite memory you've created so far with Coach Scheyer?
Um, mm, I'd probably say the dinner at Cameron.
Mhm.
We just had a lot of good conversations with me and my family. It was really fun.
We obviously know that the roster is loaded for next season, but a lot of those guys, probably just about all the freshmen coming in, maybe one or two doesn't go one and done. But how does Coach Scheyer plan to use you though? Like you obviously have to work for the minutes, right? Be off the bench, starting, whatever it's going to look like at that point. But how does he want to use you? Like, what's the kind of game plan he has for you? What does he want you to bring to the team? Like, take us to that aspect of you.
Oh, really? I'm gonna do the same stuff that I do now, but obviously I need to work on my shooting and my ball handling to be more of a wing player. That's what they really said. But like they love my versatility. A lot of guys that they're recruiting have a lot of versatility, so they want to play us all together and have like have me like when they show me clips of people playing, they show me like some Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
Zion Williamson, guys like those who like get the ball off the rebound and push it and then maybe start a play, just multi-position guys.
For you personally, you're going to have a lot of expectations. You're going to Duke. It's the blue blood. Every year they're expected to be a contender at least or one of the top teams in the country. Are you kind of prepared for that yet? Like, obviously, you still have a year and a half or so to get ready for that. But how do you plan to embrace that spotlight and, in a sense, that pressure that comes with that?
I haven't really thought about that yet actually, but you know, I obviously know how crazy it is at Duke. Duke is like, the top of the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, I mean, this year it's not anything close to what Duke is, but this year I've gotten a lot of like overrated chants and stuff like that. Whole crowds going against me. So I guess like nowadays it's kind of preparing me a little bit of what's going to happen. But I don't think there's really any way to get prepared for the craziness at Duke and when you play at North Carolina if you're at Duke. So I just gotta be prepared for it as best I can.
Another aspect that some people might be a little surprised by, to some degree, is obviously you did commit a lot earlier than some guys do. Like some guys will be still waiting a whole other year to commit in your class. So, what made you kind of say, okay, I want to commit before I go into my final AAU season? Like, what led you to say now is the right time?
I just I've always talking to some of the guys like from my older AAU team, like on the older team I meant, they said the guys that were committed they said they had a lot more fun playing because they were committed. They didn't worry about the coaches on the side, all the pressure that comes with. So I just wanted to go to like my high school, like most of my high school season and the AAU season, just having no pressure, with coaches watching, and then just have all that stress off my back, just so I can play my game and just know where I'm going and not have to worry about anything else.
This might put you on the spot right now, but if you could list your top five Duke talents of all time, so not necessarily just top careers. I mean, obviously Grayson Allen probably has a more better career for 4 year span or whatnot than per se Zion did in one and done year or Kyrie or something like that. But if you could pick your five most talented players ever to play at Duke, who would they be?
Uh, Grant Hill, Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
mm, talented Jason Tatum. I gotta say Zion Williamson. Um, Dang, Christian Leitner.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, Dang, that's hard. Uh, Kyrie. I don't. It's hard. I don't know. That's it, Kyrie.
When you look at that list, obviously you want to put your name alongside some of them someday. At least have some people eventually say, I want to be like Sean Stewart was. How do you plan to do that though? Like you're going to go out there, obviously spend however long God's got in store for you out there, but how do you plan to be able to become another great Duke player down the road?
I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing now. Working hard every day to get better. And I just gotta show everybody what I can do, and hopefully that works out for me, and I could take it as far as I can go.
When you talk about Grant Hill, I know you guys also have some type of relationship out there. You got to walk us through a little bit. Like, what's the backstory behind that?
Um, we're just family friends. Our families like moved into the neighborhood at the same time. So they met at like I think it was my brother's I think first birthday party or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've just been friends ever since, and we're just like family friends really.
And having a guy like Grant Hill's knowledge, he's obviously been an incredible player, one of the best we've seen talent-wise in the NBA, great Duke career. Obviously now has had an incredible role in multiple different facets, both on broadcasting now, Team USA. Getting just to hear from his knowledge as well now, how big has that been for you?
It's been really big, it helps me a lot. A lot of people think like he like led me to go to Duke, but that's not the case. Like he really like helped me out like with the recruiting. Like, he said like just follow your heart on where to go. So like yeah, he's given me a lot of good advice. As I've known him since for my whole life. So him, my dad, they give me a lot of good advice.
When you look at a player like Grant Hill, obviously there's so many different things you could learn from, and you put in your story one move that you guys had similar to each other. But what's one aspect of your game that you've incorporated that kind of comes from his game?
I'd probably say his ball handling. I do a lot of I try to do a lot of the same moves that he did,
Mm-hmm.
on the perimeter. Those moves are really good. I've been trying to do those moves a lot more, because when he did them, they worked almost every time. So I got to try it.
Although, like you said, he didn't necessarily kind of talk you into going to Duke, but I have to imagine he still was excited to know that you're going to Duke. So, how did you tell him? Like, did he find out online? Did you tell him beforehand? And whenever he did find out, what was his reaction?
He he was on the Zoom call with us,
Mm-hmm.
but I think my dad told him before, but he was just really excited like everybody else because he was actually there when I went to my first Duke game when I was really young, and I told him that I wanted to go there. So he's been rooting for me to go to Duke my whole life. So it was really cool to share that with him.
When we talk about your personality, both on and off, which you're going to bring on the court as well, kind of give Duke fans a little bit of insight into what they can expect from you. Like, what will you bring to the team? What are you going to bring off the court for the program and just on campus? Like, take us through the whole Sean Stewart package you bring into Duke.
I say on and off the court, I'm two different people. On the court, I got a lot of intensity,
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of people think I'm mean, but off the court, I'm a super nice and fun guy. I interact with everybody, But I mean, on the court, you can expect a lot of excitement, dunks and block shots, everything that you can ask for. And, me and all the players are gonna bring a lot of excitement for like Duke does every year. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really excited for that. Yeah.
When we talk about your recruiting class, like it's still pretty early, but you guys already have two guys locked in, you and Caleb. To some extent, too, Christian obviously is going to redshirt, so he's not going to be a freshman until 2023. But when you talk about you and Caleb for starters, have you guys talked yet? Did you know about him prior to that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've seen him online, but like, did you guys have a relationship before he commit? Like, where do you guys stand personal, like, kind of relationship wise right now?
We gotta, we're pretty good friends right now
Mm-hmm.
since we both committed. But when I didn't know him like before, I knew of him. I seen a lot of highlights, and I played against him at the top 100 camp. But we really started talking like when he saw I got the Duke offer,
Mm-hmm.
and he was committed already. He's been committed for a long time, but when he saw I got the Duke offer, he kind of like started recruiting me a little bit. But now we got a pretty good friendship going.
So two guys are locked in. I know this class is not going to be done yet. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of roster spots to fill. So who do you guys want? Like, what's the Duke dream class for 2023?
Uh, I say Mackenzie McBacko,
Mhm.
Jared McCain, uh, and Matis Muzelis. Yeah, guys. I'd say, but those are probably the main guys.
Let's say that class gets locked in, all you guys end up committing to Duke. How special would that 2023 recruiting class be?
Number one class, that'd be crazy. No, nobody be in that class.
At the same time, for yourself too, you kind of know the expectations. Like you are a top ranked player, your dreams of the NBA. Obviously, that's what Duke's known for, getting guys to the league too. How do you balance that? Because obviously that's going to be your priority too, but at the same time, you're worried about your career at Duke as well. So, how do you plan to be able to balance both those aspects?
I just got to take everything one step at a time. Worry about college, but that'll get you. Worrying about college, you'll play good in college. That'll get you to the next level. So I just got to take everything one step at a time.
Is there a player that you would compare yourself to, or maybe even a couple of different guys you take pieces from?
Um, yeah, I mean, I try to take like a lot of different things from different players, like Carmelo Anthony, like his face up post game, stuff
Mhm.
like that. Giannis in transition. Kevin Durant on the outside. A lot of stuff, a lot of different smaller pieces from different players.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get into a few more things that about you and how you got to this point. So we obviously just head back. I mean, obviously you're in Florida now. You've kind of grown up. So what's this been like growing up out there in Florida?
It's been really good. I've lived here my whole life.
Hmm.
I was born in Boston, but we moved here when I was like one or two. So that's all I've known. All my friends are here. This is just all I've known my whole life. So Florida raised.
Now, Florida is known as one of the best basketball states in the entire country. And even if you don't even include all the Montverde and IMG guys too, like just the pure guys, born and raised Florida kids. So what's it like just being a part of that group? Like all the talents in that group, not just 2023, but like 2022 and just historically too. What's like being a part of that state basketball wise?
We got the best state for basketball. It's just we're such a big state, and everybody down here we work so hard. So it's just being a part of the conversation of like best Florida players to come out. It's really cool to think of.
You said Florida's number one for you. Who's your top three states in America for basketball?
Probably Florida, California, and Texas.
Mm-hmm. And for you personally, in terms of your overall high school career, you obviously decided to go out there to Windermere Prep, and that's where you really started to blossom and become the player you are today. So take us to that move. Like, why was that the school you wanted to go play at?
I go to Windermere High School. It always gets mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
They're like right next to each other, but they always get mixed up. But it was just a move that me and my family talked about. Um, Moving schools. It was just a better opportunity for me to get to grow as a player and grow my skill set, being able to handle the ball, be the main guy on the team. So, but it's been really good. I met a lot of new friends and all my teammates. I love all my new teammates. So it's just been a really good few or year and a half now, I guess. Moving to that new school.
And when you look at just the way you've grown, obviously you still have a long ceiling. I mean, you're 6'8". You still could be growing on top of that as well. How much more special do you think you can become? Like, what else do you think you can add to your game? And what do you kind of see for yourself in the future, talent wise?
I think a lot of people forget, like I'm still 16.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got year, 2 years, year and a half to grow before I even get to Duke. So, the main things that I try to work on is, my shooting, my outside shooting, and then my ball handling, just so I can become like a true wing player.
Mm-hmm. And that is a unique aspect too, because in today's world, especially with COVID, so many guys are reclassifying and being like a year older than most guys are in their grade. And for you to be a lot younger than most guys, like you still being a 16-year-old as a junior right now in 2023, take us to that aspect. Like, how have you been able to be this dominant and while still being one of the more younger guys in your class?
I mean, I just try to think of it like, like if you say somebody's older, you can't really do anything about it. So you just got
Mm-hmm.
to go out there and play. You can't really make them play up or whatever, they're right up or they're right grade. So
Mm-hmm.
I just, play like they're my age. So because when you get to college, you're gonna be playing guys 5 years older than you, and you're gonna be on a team with dudes like you're 18. There's gonna be like a 24-year-old on a team, so really nothing really matters at that point.
When would you say that you started feeling like, okay, I am a player that can become one of the best players in the entire country? I'm a guy that can go to a Duke, possibly even play in the NBA someday. When did that kind of all start setting in for you to start realizing that you are one of the better players in the country?
I mean, I always knew that would happen. I always like keep a positive mindset. But
Mhm.
I say like when I really knew that I could actually do it, I'd say probably like the summer after my freshman year. So like 15U, I had a really good summer. A lot of the bigger offers started to come in, like Michigan and Georgetown, Kansas. So that's when I really knew like I could take it to the next level.
Take us to the very first day you got that first college call. I know it's a special day for everybody, but when did that first offer come to you and just take us to that day?
It was the beginning of my freshman year, and it was a USF basketball camp that all the Florida guys went to, so they can get seen by colleges. And I think it was like me and like four other freshmen there.
Mhm.
Um, I think they invited us to come. If you're a freshman, you had to get invited to go. And then so I played all right at the camp. I didn't even think I played that good. So I didn't really expect anything out of it. But like a few days later, the coach called my AAU coach, and then he called my dad, and my dad gave me the phone and said that he offered me. And it was really exciting because I've been working for that, my whole life. So to get the
Mhm.
first one, and I knew a lot more would come after that. It was just really good to get the first one.
Off the court for you, I know academics are really important too. So is that something that's been established just by yourself? Like, was that just an internal drive you've had? Was that something your parents kind of enforced on you? What led to your passion, your like really your all pursuit for academics as well?
It was like a mix of both. My
Mhm.
parents they stay on me about grades, and just to because that gave me a lot more options for college.
Yep.
Stanford and Harvard. But it's just something I try to do is just have good grades. So it's just something I always have. Try to get all A's and B's. But yeah, it's just something I try to do.
Off the court, is there another career path that you've looked into? Like, obviously, basketball is your main thing, but when the ball does stop bouncing someday, is there another avenue of life that you are interested in or something else that you'd like to pursue someday?
I haven't really thought about it that much, but I just try like whenever I do after, I just want to stay in sports, whatever sport it is. Try to stay around basketball or do something like that.
Now, when you talk about your next year of basketball, obviously it's going to be a lot more things to possibly achieve, but you still have the rest of this year too. And that's something that's going to be special because you have a lot of top teams in that class you can go up against. We were talking about before this. So you got about two, maybe a little bit more than 2 months left of the season still. Take us through what your goals are. What do you want to get done the remainder of your junior season?
I want to win the state championship for my school. That'd be the first one, because we're kind of a new school, but it's still, it'd be the first basketball state championship. I actually think it'd be the first school state championship. So I want to do that, lead my team to that. I want to get player of the year in the area. It's a really good area, so that means a lot to get it.
Mhm.
Maybe get maybe get Mr. Basketball in Florida either this year or next year, and get player of the year in the. I just said that the player of the year in the area. And I say those are the main things I want to do.
Who would you say is your favorite matchup to go up against in your division or the teams you can play against?
I'd probably say Olympia because my AAU teammate is on that team.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about it for a while now. We played on Friday, and he hit the game winner on us. So, but we could play him again on Saturday, and that'll be the second game of like maybe two more. So that team's just fun to play against because in the assistant coach for our AAU team, he's one of the coaches on Olympia too. So it's just really fun to go against him.
AAU is coming up as well, and that's something I'm sure you're excited for. And last year, you guys played E1 T1. You guys had a loaded team once again, but now it's obviously a little transition. Now you're playing with the Rebels. I know it's kind of pretty much similar to the same thing, but just changed names and whatnot. But take us to that decision, like why you're remaining with them, and how excited you will go out there and play AAU again this season.
I'm really excited. More excited than usual because I'm committed and
Mm-hmm.
I just get to have fun out there. But that decision, I've been with Coach Reese since fourth, fifth grade. So, to stay with him and most of the same teammates that I've been playing with since sixth, seventh grade, just to stay with them for all of high school, it was just really cool to, hopefully win Peach Jam with those guys.
And as some of the main guys on last year's team, you had Marvel, who's obviously special. You got Jaden, Jizzle, Jason. Are they all still planning to come with you? And also, who are some other big additions that could be coming on this team as well?
I know everybody's staying. I think I don't know about Marvell and Jaden,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody else they're staying. I don't know who we're adding yet, but you can maybe expect us to add some guys, maybe not. But no matter what, we gonna play as a team and get it done.
You personally, what's your biggest goal for this year's Peach Jam and EYBL season?
Just to win it. 15U we didn't get a chance because there was no Peach Jam or anything. Last year we lost by one in the Elite Eight, so that hurt. So this year we got a chip on our shoulder to win the whole thing.
Absolutely, man. Well, a few more things before I let you go. One of which is going back to Duke for a couple of things. And one of those is obviously the NIL deal. And that's something that's really new to everything. It's changing basketball in a good way. So how big of a role did that have in your recruiting process? Did you really care about NIL too much, or just kind of walk us through NIL and what that kind of had an impact on, if it did, in your recruiting process?
Really everybody talked about it on the visits, but it didn't really play that big of a role because that's just one of the things that you get if you play good, which I need to do. So I mean, obviously at Duke it's a really big organization and they got a lot of fans, so if you do good there you'll get a lot of NIL stuff, but that's just one of the things that comes with being a college athlete nowadays.
What are the pitches, though? I mean, obviously there's so many different avenues it could go, but like, what exactly was Duke, for example? Like, what was their pitch to you? Did they have certain companies or people that could work with you, or just what kind of was their pitch that Duke had for you?
I mean, mainly it was like, they talked about how big their fan base is. They got like more, like they have a lot of followers on social media. They got more followers than some NBA teams.
Yep.
So you get a lot of exposure, which means like you get a lot of different like brands coming at you to, get some deals going. But, it was just like them, with their big fan base, that's what they try to say.
Absolutely. Well, I was like wrapping up talking about your legacy, and obviously I know you want to remember for something. So when you do end up stepping away from the game of basketball down the road, whenever that day does come, what do you want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I want to be, remembered as, like I said earlier, always the guy who always played as hard as he could. Being a winner, whatever that is, and just being, hopefully one of the greatest.
Absolutely, man. Well, my final thing for you, give Duke fans your three biggest goals they have set for your Duke career.
Win a national championship, number one recruiting class, win another championship.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm excited to see what God's got next for you. Best luck the next year and a half. I know we'll probably talk before that, but next year and a half before you get out to campus. And congratulations on the big commitment again, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me too.
Of course, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
You too.